Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Talk and Stalk, your unholy home for horror. I'm your host, as always, Barry, and I'm joined today by two familiar faces. You might have seen these guys before, Joseph and Pete.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
Just can't get rid of you two, can I?
No,
no,
no
way.
Yeah. But yeah, glad to have you here, man. Obviously, the film that we're going to be talking about today, the movie that we're going to be focusing on is Scream. Obviously, the recently released 2022 film. I know me and Joseph especially, I know you're a big fan of the first film, Pete. But when it comes to Scream, you've got a little less interest in some of the sequels, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I'll be honest. Yeah, definitely.
Me and Joseph, I know, were like really excited for this film, actually. Cautiously optimistic is probably the best term I'd use for me, because it has been 11 years since we had Scream 4. And obviously, with Wes Craven passing away in 2015, the franchise has been in limbo. We've been like, are we ever going to get another Scream film? New studio at the helm. And let's face it, there wasn't really much marketing until kind of like early January. And it's a couple of weeks or so before the film came out. Damn, we were hit with so much marketing. But unlike Halloween Kills, which obviously was put back by a whole year, there was so much marketing throughout that year. With Scream, it all seemed to come at once. Within those couple of weeks and that. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you, Joseph, but I went into this film with quite high expectations due to the buzz that was going on around this movie. There's been quite a bit of hype, a lot of buzz. For you, I'm going to assume that you were really excited and expecting this to be something pretty damn good, yeah?
Oh, yeah. New Scream movie, of course.
The thing is, they've got to kind of like, Spyglass Entertainment have got to try and appease the fans and kind of like, pay respect to Wes Craven's legacy. That's the thing. It's kind of like, it's a beloved franchise, isn't it? And I don't know if you two agree with me. I prefer the fourth film to the third film. In all honesty, I actually thought the fourth film was actually a bit of an improvement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't like the third film at all.
And this kind of like, I mean, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the third film. I still think there's stuff in there to appreciate. But we spoke about this before. It did kind of feel like Scream was starting to become the very kind of movie that the first film especially was kind of like Riley mocking. Well,
it was.
But I was really liking the looks of these trailers, because this film, trailers are very misleading, but there seemed to be a seemingly very dark edge to this film going by the trailers and that. Something that was going to be maybe a little bit less meta and that. I did remember reading them saying that this film wasn't going to be overly meta. I do remember reading that. So, talking about the film, I went to see this twice. Joseph's seen it twice. I know you've only seen it once, Pete. You're going tomorrow, though, aren't you? You're going back tomorrow. First impressions, Joseph. So you walked away, first viewing. What did you actually think?
I actually really liked it. A few qualms, but for me, the positives outweighed the negatives. So,
yeah.
Pete? Not bad. Good in places. A little bit disappointing overall. I wasn't going in with high expectations. I kept an open mind. And I liked elements of it. I liked the cast. But it was overly meta for me and far too contrived and extremely implausible as well. And that is
the thing is, I think with almost any horror film out there now, I know exactly what you're talking about. We are going to talk spoilers. We are going to go into spoilers. We're just going to talk about overall thoughts first, and we're going to like dissect this film, right? But I really liked it. I had some issues. I did have some issues, certainly in the final act. For me, the movie does kind of fall apart somewhat at the scenes in the final act. It kind of felt rushed. It kind of felt, for what we were kind of promised, this movie, to me, was really kind of marketed and promoted in such a way that this movie was going to have a very kind of deep-seated link to the first film. Yeah. And while we certainly had connections, there was some connective tissue to the first film, without a doubt, definitely. This film went along a route that I didn't expect it to. And it was a route that I ultimately found kind of disappointing. But at the same time, I can understand why it was done, because it makes a lot of commentary. The Scream films always have, especially, you know, Scream 2 and onwards, have made a lot of commentary about the era of cinema that we're living in. You know, the effects of violence in cinema on real life, etc. And this film, obviously, it's like you said, Pete, yes, this film does get very meta. It does get incredibly meta. It never lost me at all, but I was ultimately very disappointed with the end. Now, I do think this is the best film in the franchise since Scream 2, though. I don't know if you guys agree, but this is probably my third favorite in the franchise.
Yeah.
Just a touch better than 4.
You know, I think that the cast, all right, I know obviously a great huge selling point having Dewey back and Gale and, you know, Sidney Prescott. Admittedly, you know, I've heard some people complain that they don't really have much to do in this film, and that they don't really have that much in the way of screen time, and that's kind of true. But what they're trying to do is that they're clearly trying to push this franchise forward in a new direction. We can't keep having Sidney Prescott in every film. This franchise is going to go on. You can't keep having the same characters film after film after film. It's a passing of the torch, if you will. And this film did take a risk that I wanted it to. Now, I've heard some people didn't like the delivery or the execution of this risk. I personally didn't have a problem with it, but at the same time, it comes down to the implausibility that you were talking about, Pete. Because there is one factor in this film that I find it almost impossible to ignore. What did you think to the cast overall then? What did you think to the new bunch of characters in this film?
Yeah, I mean, I liked them. I thought they were good, you know, but I think it was more a kind of issue I have with the script. Especially the dialogue. I felt it was overly, see, the exposition with the explanation of it being meta. I felt as though we were being spoon-fed, and we got it. You know, we're not thick, you know, but there was one bit, and there was a big monologue almost about, you know, the explanation behind, oh, someone has, you know, taken this seriously because they were so disappointed with the way the Stab sequel had turned out that they decided to, you know, do their own version.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing. What you're talking about as well is kind of like life is imitating art, because the very thing that we're talking about, we're not going to go into spoilers yet, but this whole kind of like, you know, somebody being very disappointed with a sequel, etc., with the way a franchise is going. You know, some people are called toxic. Some people are labeled toxic for hating the inferior sequels or whatever. The very same thing online is being said as what's being said in this movie. The very same thing. That this Scream movie, which interestingly enough as well, this followed in the route of Halloween, did it? Because it's not actually called Scream 5. It's just called Scream.
Yeah.
Which I think actually probably confused some people. I guarantee you some of the less experienced horror fans out there in the cinema probably thought they were going in to watch a remake or something. I can almost guarantee there'd be at least 1 or 2 people in that cinema, because
the fact that five was absent from the title, they would think,
What about you, Joseph? Joseph, who was kind of a standout character for you of the new cast that we got? Were there any characters or actors that actually stood out to you in this film?
Firstly, the character of Wes, and you'll know why.
Well, let's face it, he's called Wes as a tribute. Simple as that. He was there as a tribute to Wes Craven. He's a good actor. Dylan Fedette, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Also from Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I liked his character. I really liked Randy's cousin. What was her name? The girl that was there.
His niece.
Yes, his niece.
Twins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Is it Martha? No, that's his sister, isn't it? That's
it was his sister.
Martha Meek.
Is that not the mom?
Yeah.
I know who you talk. I know exactly who
you know who.
About. I can't think of her name.
Oh, I've gone blank. Yeah, but
she was the Randy, wasn't she? She was basically the Randy Meek for movie. But she is ultimately one of the most memorable characters in the film. Ultimately, when they go into that whole rant of requels and all this and that and whatever, and some people were like, "Is that even a word? That's actually this movie." Apparently, it is a word. And I think Bruce Campbell came out with the term requel years ago when he was asked to describe Evil Dead 2. He said it's a requel, so it's kind of part sequel, part reimagining reboot, if you will.
Yeah.
And it does seem to be a trend that's cropping up quite a bit now. I agree with Dylan Fredette. I feel like he was a character that was really underutilized.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get much to do. Or that much to say even, but I don't know. I find him likable. I don't know. I just find him a likable.
He does have a very likable presence. Yeah.
Yeah, he has got a likability to him, which is really weird because like I said, he didn't really have that much to do in this film. For me personally, the one standout of the new cast, I thought Tara, played by Jennifer Ortega, I thought she was great.
She was great. She was.
Yeah. I thought she was great in that opening. She does. Now, she's not an actress I'm overly familiar with, I will confess. I thought she played the role of traumatized incredibly well.
She did.
Yeah,
but
she did.
Don't you think she was chosen especially because she does bear a resemblance to Neve Campbell?
I never thought that, but
did you not see that? No,
they've got dark hair, Pete. They've got two eyes and a nose and a mouth and that. No.
you look again. Honestly, there is a slight.
She's Latino, isn't she? Jennifer Ortega. She's Hispanic, Latino, or. But no, I actually thought really good act, and I will say this: I thought that she was actually better than the lead girl, her sister. Samantha Carpenter, again, a great little nod to the man himself, John Carpenter. But I actually thought she was the better actress. I thought she was really good in that role. She was just so convincing. She was
really good. Yeah.
There is a character in this film that was a throwaway. There is a character in this film that, again, we saw in a bit of the marketing and all this and that. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street, the 2010 remake. He played the character of Vince, who turns out, it must have been a comment I somehow missed out on. He was the nephew or cousin, I believe, of Stu from the first Scream.
Mm.
So he's the guy that literally has like 3 scenes and about 30, 40 seconds or so of screen time.
Yeah.
I did not see the purpose of his character in the film.
No.
Again, it would have been nice to have like
red herring.
Huh?
Red herring, maybe.
But he wasn't in the film long enough to be one.
Like, but that's supposed to be
for like 30, 40 seconds. And I actually thought, because when I read online that he was the nephew or whatever of Stu, I thought, hang on, potential suspect here. This is a character that's going to play maybe quite a sizable role. I think he was there to literally just be a body, just to add to the body count, because that's all it felt like. He literally had, I'll admit, leading up to his death, we got to hear the song that we've heard in 4 out of the 5 Scream films, Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah.
The song was playing in the car, on the car radio. So I like that little kind of touch, but it just felt like he was there to be a body to add to the body count. And I actually found his death quite disappointing as well. It just felt it was it was just a quick slice of the neck. And so let's talk about the opening to this film. I actually thought this was the best opening since Scream 2.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
certainly paying homage to the original. Whilst, I love the fact that she was being quizzed on, obviously, a lot of horror films that have come out since then, elevated horror, things like The Babadook and The Witch, Hereditary. Seeing them films get mentioned in that. But I like the fact it was so meta that she's being quizzed on Stab movies.
Yeah.
That Stab is now this big franchise and she's being quizzed on them. And the fact that the killer actually tested her who was the killer in the original Stab. And she only, I'm sure you guys said the same thing. As soon as she said Billy Loomis, we're like, no, hang on a sec. There were two.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I could have went into the screen at that point and said, oh, no, you're forgetting there's two killers.
It still makes me laugh how Casey Becker in the original Scream says she saw that movie, 50 goddamn times or whatever. And how the hell did she not know that Mrs. Voorhees? If she's seen the film that many times,
I know. I think she was just thinking of, the ones that went after it. She was thinking of the villain of the piece. Not the first one, but just
she's under pressure and stuff.
The killer that the franchise represents is Jason. So she's she was under pressure.
I thought the opening was really well done. I thought the opening was actually really well done. It set the film up really well. Like I said, Jennifer Ortega was just great. She was just great in this opening. And that's what the other Scream films really lacked, because Casey Becker in the first film, Drew Barrymore, gave a really harrowing performance. Jada Pinkett did in Scream 2 when she stabbed. That was a really kind of like impactful moment. And I felt this was the most, I'm not going to say that it elicited the same response in me, but this was the most impactful opening, in my opinion, since Scream 2. This film did have its moments of intensity. There were its moments of that, which were kind of lacking in 3 and 4. But those films kind of lacked that. And let's face it, going into spoilers now and everything, again, playing on the audience's expectations, she survives. She doesn't even die. She's the first victim. She's the first person in a Scream opening to actually survive and not get killed. We always expect the first person to die now, don't we?
Yeah, I know. But then again, that seemed to be prevalent in the film. It doesn't matter how many times they were stabbed or shot or maimed or kicked, they just survived.
I will say this.
Like that was a problem for me.
We'll get onto it shortly. There are more survivors in this film than I expected.
Yeah.
But I get what they've done. I get what they've done. There's particular characters in this film that they like, and they assume that the audience are gonna, warm to and everything, and they don't want to kill them off. So presumably this is, because I firmly believe we're going to get another Scream film after this. This film is doing well. I mean, it is doing well box office wise in that. I mean, Judy having some of the returning characters as well. To me personally, I thought one of the best, most well-crafted scenes in the movie, death-wise, was Judy and her son, Dylan. Sorry, not Dylan, Wes, sorry. Wes. The whole thing, I thought that was a nod, and that's one thing we don't see too often either. A guy in a shower. Usually it's a woman that we see taking the shower. Yeah. They kind of turned it around here. So it's Wes in the shower, and then you get that, have you ever seen that movie, Psycho? And you're expecting him to get stabbed in the shower. Obviously, it doesn't happen. But you know what? When I told you about this, Pete, after the scene, I thought to myself, it is really quite bad. Like a mother and a son both being killed one after another.
I know.
The whole build up to it. The whole build up I thought was really well done.
Yeah.
She put a tracker on it as well as she was going back to the house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah. Judy returned the character Scream for. Now I went into this film thinking that Judy was a potential suspect, actually. Because this analytical mind of mine, when they're all sitting there, when you first see all the characters together, and Wes sees his mum, doesn't he? And she gives him a little, do you remember? She gives him a little nod.
Yeah.
that analytical screen mind I have now, that was her signaling to him that she'd done the attack. So I was already thinking early on in this film that Judy was a suspect. I thought she was going to have a deep link, a deep connection to Sydney or something from the first film. But that's what that's what you could say the twist was. You are kind of led to believe that this film has a very deep connection, which in reality it doesn't really, aside from one character, the main character. What was your thoughts, right, on Sam Carpenter being the daughter of Billy Loomis? Did that film?
Yeah. I accepted that, and I thought that was good. I thought that was fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't crazy about the fact that she kept seeing him. You know, it kind of reminded me a wee bit of Pet Sematary.
Okay.
You know, with the ghost, and that was a wee bit. I don't know. It made me cringe a wee bit, thinking, no, that's a wee bit tacky. But you know, I liked the essence of it. You know, that she was his daughter. Because that didn't plague her.
I mean, I think we worked it out, right? We worked it out really quickly. I think do you know what I mean? As soon as she had the hallucination of Billy Loomis, I think we knew there and then that, I mean, an early theory I had with this film, again, which is something that's been done time and time again in horror movies and thrillers, I thought she was hallucinating. You know, when she's attacked in the hospital by Ghostface, I thought she was imagining it.
Yeah, I know, that was a strange scene.
I thought there was going to be a big twist thing, but then very quickly, then you realise it's completely and utterly impossible. She can't be the killer. But one of my first theories was that, yeah, she could be the killer. She's not aware that she's actually killing. I get what you mean with Billy Loomis. I didn't like the hallucination scenes.
No, I agree. That's what
I get it though. Fan service. Billy Loomis, Skeet Ulrich back. But I don't know, it just felt like it was kind of tacked on and it really didn't have any bearing on the actual plot. But I suppose at the same time, it's leading you to possibly believe that, hang on a sec, she may become a killer herself. Who knows? I didn't think the CG was like that terrible. What about you, Joseph? Did you find, because obviously he'd been like de-aged, hadn't he? Somewhat.
Yeah.
Did you find it like jarring? Did it look perfectly fine to you, do you think?
I thought he looked fine. Yeah. I actually, at first, when I first seen it, I actually looked at him and it was kind of like, I thought it was the Dr. Sleep thing. Okay. Where they got someone to look like, you know, and I was like, shit, he really looks like Scoot. And then when I realized that it was actually him, I was like, fuck, that's really good.
Yeah. And again, do you know what this comes back to? I only realized this upon a second viewing. Let's not forget a line that Billy Loomis come out with to Sidney Prescott in the first Scream. He says, it's like the scene in Silence of the Lambs when Jodie Foster keeps having flashbacks of her dead father. Well, that's what his daughter is doing, Samantha. She keeps having visions of her dead father as well.
Yeah.
I thought the moment that was really cheesy, getting towards the end of the movie, is where he kind of like looked towards the knife, like, you know, pick it up. Like it. But you know, quickly getting back to Wes's death and that, you know, it was the build up. It was the build up to the film.
It played with your mind, really, just expecting the killer just to appear. You know, when you opened the fridge, opened the cupboard. It delayed it brilliantly.
Yeah. Like Wes Craven did in Scream 2, really playing on the audience's expectations. Like that great moment in Scream 2 where they have to climb over Ghostface in the car and you're just waiting for that jump scare and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I really did like the build up, the build up. But you know, talk about I'm trying to think one of the other characters. So Richie, so Samantha's boyfriend, who, now I don't know if you guys got the same thing. I had like Stu vibes from him, like from the get-go almost. He's kind of dweeby, isn't he? He's kind of dweeby and kind of
yeah.
It's Jack Quaid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid's son.
Yeah.
Was he? I don't know about you. I think going into it, kind of like you always suspect the boyfriend, the love interest, is almost always kind of like a prime suspect and stuff. Did you two work out who the killer or killers were?
Not a chance.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay. One of them I found predictable. One of them I did actually find quite predictable.
Did you?
Yeah, but the other one, and I'm going to say it comes down to being cheated. Because there's no way. They use a stunt actor, don't they, to play Ghostface. And there is a scene in the hospital where there's no way in a million years that's that person in that costume. And in a few scenes in the film, you can actually hear a man grunting in the costume.
I'll listen out for that tomorrow.
You can hear the grunting.
I'll hear that.
So, but we're led to believe, spoiler alert, or spoilers, that Amber, who I actually thought did a pretty good job of being batshit crazy in the final act. I will say that. And it's ironic, you two probably know this, but this is the second time that she's been set on fire, because she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she was set on fire in that as well by Leonardo DiCaprio.
You said that,
There's no way. There's just no possible way. All right, I get it. Psychotic psychopaths have more strength and stuff, but you really are cheating your audience, because the killer in that costume, the actor, was probably nearly a foot taller than what she is.
Definitely. And they must have been wearing a bulletproof vest as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Now, let's get to the big moment, because I've been saying this film after film after film. Dewey has to die at some point. Has to.
Yeah.
It's not because I dislike the character. I really like the character of Dewey. Admittedly, in 3 and 4, it'd become a little bit more for comedic effect, it felt. A little bit more for comedy value. But no, I was really glad to see him in this film, actually. But at the same time, it was kind of like they've got to take that risk. They've got to do that. And
felt sorry for him.
Yeah,
he was quite a sympathetic character.
Was killed essentially kind of a schoolboy error, if you will, how it was written. I know some people are really unhappy with how he was killed, because obviously shoot him in the head. That's the number one rule that we've come to learn. But yeah, the ironic thing is, had Gail not have phoned him, he wouldn't have been distracted, because it was actually her phoning him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was good to see them back on screen together.
Definitely.
I do love it. I love all the bits of screen time that them two have together. I really do.
No,
whenever they're on screen together, it's great.
Good chemistry. Yeah. Did you notice something? Right, I could be wrong in thinking this, but one of the characters says, "I'll be right back," and isn't killed.
Which character is that?
I believe it is Neve Campbell.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it doesn't always. It's just an 80% chance you're dead.
Yeah. Because I'm sure at the climax, she says, I'll be right back. And she goes and speaks to Gail. And as soon as I heard that line, I thought, oh, no.
Well, let's face it. I loved it because in the first screen, what I loved, the whole scene of Randy giving the rules, never, ever, under any circumstance, say, I'll be right back, because you won't be back. And Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers, is sitting there watching the whole thing. And then she goes out to take a walk with Dewey. And she said to Kenny, the cameraman, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
And again, playing on the audience's expectations, because that comes right after the rules that Randy did.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But so maybe
this is what you've got. You're 5 films in a franchise. How do you keep it fresh? How do you... To be quite honest, I thought they overall did a pretty good job. I thought they did a good job.
Yeah.
But the issue I have... Now, let's face it, the elephant in the room here, a lot of people were expecting Stu.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that believe Stu is not dead.
Oh,
and I'm not going to lie. There was one moment in the film, just a fleeting quick. I've always said it. I've always laughed at people. I've always ridiculed people for thinking that Stu could be the killer in this film and all this and that. But there was one moment in that movie. There was one. It was the hospital. Because I thought, you know what? That's a bloke. That's a bloke killing Dewey. Who else can it be? It can't be Richie, because Richie was taken off in the elevator.
Yeah.
What other men have you got? You've got the Randy's nephew. I forgot his name, who also survives, obviously, with his sister. So I'm thinking, what other male characters are in this movie? And there was a fleeting thought that, hang on a sec, but then towards the end of the film, you've got to bring him in, explain everything, where the hell he's been, etc.
Oh, I know.
But there are still people with the theory that there's 3 killers. There are people that still think there is a killer in that movie that hasn't been named. And
no, I don't buy that.
No, I think it just comes down to, because I'll tell you what as well, having seen the film a second time, right? Amber, the killer who we're led to believe, who actually commits, I think, most of the murders in the movie, actually. Amber does more than what Richie does. The moment where she's talking about killing doing that, there is absolutely no way that she could have, because she was with Tara. How the hell did she get out of that costume so quick? Where did she go to? Because she's with Tara. So I think it just comes down to kind of a continuity thing.
Yeah.
Must do.
Do you know that Matthew Lillard is in the film?
Is it in a screenshot?
No.
I know he's in a screenshot.
No.
Where is he? Because I know he appears on screen too in the background at the party.
I read this thing. It was like all Easter eggs and stuff, just to see what I'd missed. Do you know when?
All right, Joseph, hang on a second. We're down to less than 1 minute, so we'll just resume on the second part.
Okay.
Back in a sec.
Okay.
And we're back. So, Joseph, you were saying that Stu or Matthew Lillard actually kind of appears in the new screen?
He does. He is, if you remember when they're watching the YouTube video of the flamethrowers guy with the screen mask, I think it was for Stab 8. It's Matthew Lillard. Because he did come to set and he did come to set and stuff, and they were kind of like listen, like little jokes and stuff. So that's him. Towards the climax when they are going into the house, there's a character that says, "Hey man, nice house," and it's his voice. And then they said that was a throwback to that being his house and stuff. The print, I never caught this on, when we're first introduced to the kids on the bench, did you notice who the announcer was, the principal?
But it can't be Himbry, because Himbry's dead.
No. It's Drew Barrymore.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. There was a few more, but there was one that I thought was brilliant, and it was a lot of ADR work, which was, when they do the 2 West thing, and then everybody goes 2 West, but it's a lot of voices.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler. I think Rose McGowan's in there. There was a lot of people from the first film that they all got their voices for that, and I thought that was really kind of cool.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then there's one more. You'll really like this one. When Richie's telling everybody to get out.
Yeah.
Of their house, and they're like, "Oh fuck you." There's a character that comes into the room and it says, "Hey, some guy's granddad's telling us to go." It's actually Jamie Kennedy's voice.
Oh, is it? Oh, Randy himself.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I can never forgive that guy for Son of Mask. What about? Oh my God, one of the worst things I think I've ever seen, man. Yeah,
it's awful. It is bad. It is.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned actually about the flamethrower thing in the YouTube and stuff, because I remember in one of the trailers we saw this chrome mask wearing Ghostface with a flamethrower, and everyone's like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, I called it. I'm sure a lot of other people did. I'm like, I bet this is a scene from a Stab movie. This ain't the killer from this film. I bet you anything it's a stab movie. And it was, wasn't it? It was like, and it's funny really, because Richie watching the stab things, and he's like, he actually says, doesn't he? What is it? He goes, this franchise goes off the rails with a 5th movie.
Yeah.
While he's in the 5th movie saying this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like with Scream 4 before. You know, Anna Paquin's character in the opening, she's like, these goddamn franchises, they never know when to stop with their sequels while she's sitting there in the 4th, in the 4th installment of the franchise. You know, so they kind of poking fun at themselves. But the thing is, with that YouTube thing, I don't know if you noticed it. This was blink and you'll miss it. I didn't notice this. But the character of Kirby from Scream 4 actually survived the 4th movie. Yeah. Because we never actually saw her die. She was obviously stabbed by Charlie, one of the 2 killers in the 4th film. And she actually survived. So there was a lot of people who were convinced that she's probably going to be in this movie or maybe in the next one. But to me, she was one of the more memorable characters from the 4th film.
Yeah.
Was.
The film geek, she was like really clued up on horror. But did you notice, because this was in a very, like I said, very blink and you'll miss it. I think it's when Richie was going through his phone. Did you see what video was at the bottom? Now,
yeah, I did.
Is this them teasing the potential?
Yeah.
Is Stu Marker really dead?
Yeah.
Is Stu actually dead? Because it's never actually been confirmed. Now, this is one of the things about this film, right? Because we have this whole huge long dialogue, don't we, about requels? But if you've noticed what this film has done, it feels like it's retconning things. Billy Loomis is the guy that is mentioned throughout. Mm-hmm. There's a mention of Stu. There's some little things to Stu. But Billy is the one that seems to get all the credit. Mm-hmm. We don't hear any Miss Loomis. We don't hear any Roman Bridger, who was very much from the 3rd film, which was kind of like, he was the instigator. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for Roman Bridger, Billy Loomis wouldn't have committed their murders.
Yeah.
He was like the big guy behind it, but there are no mentions. It's all Billy Loomis and a bit of Stu. So does it feel to you like they're kind of retconning things for this film? Are they actually ignoring certain... Because if so, the whole dialogue that she's talking about in that scene about requels completely rings true with this film. They're keeping the stuff that people love and some of the other stuff that fans are maybe less keen on, Roman Bridger, for example, the 3rd film, they're kind of wiping away.
Good point.
Yeah.
Roman Bridger's never mentioned. There is no Roman.
Watch again tomorrow.
Yeah, there is no mention. I'm not saying that he doesn't exist, but the movie does not address Roman Bridger in any shape, way, or form. Like I said, I mean, I'm sure you guys recognize as well, as soon as they go into that party, the house, you're like, hang on, this house looks familiar.
Yeah.
And as soon as she went down into that frigging garage to get drink, it's like, hang on, that's where Tatum was killed. Yeah. It was great to see the house back. I love that, the fact that they actually went back to, and then I thought to myself though, at the same time, hang on a sec, is this just lazy writing? Why are they there? Stu's house has kind of come out of nowhere, but then we learn that, was it Amber's parents had bought the house and that's where she was living now?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your whole thing with the motives in this film?
No, I didn't. I wasn't convinced. I thought it was a bit really contrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was wanting something a bit more subtle. I mean, although I didn't guess the identity of the killers, I think I was wanting it to be Martha, or at least one of them to be Martha.
What Randy's sister?
Reason, for whatever reason,
That's the thing. It's establishing a motive and stuff. You've got to not only have you got to present a killer, you've got to give a valid motive, something that's completely plausible. Now, the thing is, watching this a second time, The motive, I kind of get it. I do get it. But I'm guessing it's not what I wanted. I don't know. I think maybe I don't know. Like I said, maybe I wanted a deeper connection to the first film, and maybe there was a little part of me, maybe however small, I thought it could be something to do with Stu, a relation. I tell you what I thought. You know, Randy. Sorry, not Randy. Richie, her boyfriend. Yeah. I thought he was going to be related to Stu. I thought he was going to be related to Stu. There is a Stu-ness to him. I guess it's because he's like tall and lanky and that. I don't know, but he was kind of dweeby and stuff. But yeah, the motive was kind of, you know, present toxic fandom and all this and that. I don't think you're toxic simply because you don't like sequels and certain sequels. I don't think that necessarily means you're toxic. Do you know what I mean?
No.
You can.
In a way, I was thinking, you know, it would have been good if Martha had been one of the killers, because she was going to set out to avenge Randy's his murder. The fact that he was such a devoted fan that she felt it only right to go down, because she was so unhinged, to go down that route of avenging his death, his killing.
Yeah.
Why should such a devoted fan be murdered? You know, I could see that would have worked for me.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah,
I think we kind of get, I don't know, we get two. I don't know. I was going to say like two of the less memorable killers. I don't think Amber really kind of comes into her own until the final act, when you actually realise how
really
batshit crazy she is.
That girl. Yeah.
Up until that point, you know, she's an okay character, but nothing truly memorable.
No.
And as for Richie, I mean, obviously, I mean, he even says it, doesn't he? Dewey actually says to him, he addresses this in the film, like, always look at the love interest. And he's like, are you stupid? You couldn't see it was me.
That's right.
Boyfriend.
That's right.
Because think about it, though. Since the first film, we've never had the love interest as the killer, though. Since the first.
I know.
We haven't.
Yeah.
You always look at the love interest, but it's actually more often than not, it isn't, because Derek, of course, played by Jerry O'Connell in Scream 2, all the fingers were kind of pointing towards him, and it turned out he was completely innocent.
Yeah.
What did you think to the humour in this film? Did this film make you laugh a lot?
Chuckle, yes.
Yeah, I giggled a bit. Yeah.
Chuckle. Yeah.
What I tell you, one bit that got me, like it did make me laugh a bit, is when Richie was up there and he's in the cupboard. I mean, obviously we now know that he was the one making the telephone call and whatever. But for example, like Ghostface comes crashing down on whoever it was, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's Ghostface!"
Yeah,
it's just kind of silly infantile humor, but well, I think we had, since like maybe Charlie from Scream 4. I think we kind of like maybe had two of the more unmemorable killers of the franchise. Do you think?
Yeah. No, they were pretty good. I thought they were okay, though.
I think the casting was good. I think part of it does come down to motive and execution. What makes me laugh, right? What makes me laugh is that these killers are very efficient when they're in their costume, but they can't seem to kill anyone for shit when they're out of their costume.
Yeah, that's right.
They seem so clumsy when they're actually... Put the Ghostface costume. They're a goddamn master assassin. Take the costume off.
Yeah, once the mask slips...
They can't seem to do it.
No, they can't. No.
I mean... It gets to the point of, like, you know, they're always dead, you know, takes a gunshot to head and stuff. That scene... Now, I really like this moment when Amber got set alight.
Oh, it's great.
When she fell on the oven, the hob. That was great. But then it's like you get that moment again. These we've already established these people are almost unkillable, and then she comes burnt like.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I must have. But I thought, no, that was unnecessary. Yeah. But hey.
Yeah, I just
liked it.
get
death was
behind.
brilliant though.
Yeah, I can't get behind that she was responsible for as many murders as she did. I mean, in the opening, right, with Jennifer Ortega, which I thought, again, was really well done.
Yeah,
I love that shot where Ghostface emerges from the shadow. And you get that shot, don't you, of like him slowly rising. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome shot. There was a level of intensity in this film. I thought they did some really good stuff with Ghostface, or the killer in the costume, whatever. Am I actually missing any kills? Because you've actually got the scene, haven't you, where Randy's nephew is running, gets stabbed in the leg.
Yeah.
And then he's running. And again, it's kind of like, I don't know, she got the build to knock, because he's quite a well-built bloke, knock him down to the ground and that. But I don't know. It just kind of felt a little implausible to me when you find out who the killer is. But saying that, with Jill from Scream 4, Emma Roberts was great. Mm-hmm. The motive was completely and utterly twisted, and I felt very kind of relevant and that as well. But again, it's because of her small, tiny little 90-pound frame. I always found it kind of implausible that she was the killer, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Physicality. Yeah, absolutely.
But she was, to me, one of the best killers in the franchise in terms of motive and the actress and all that. Mm-hmm. What about the other character? I mean, I forgot her name. She's the one that's going with Brandy's nephew. She ends up getting shot in the head.
Yeah, she was good as well. I liked her.
Yeah, she was fun. Yeah.
Again, she didn't really get to do, because it kind of points a finger towards it being her, doesn't it, near the end, when she's like, I could be the killer.
It does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that. So, Joseph, did you guess who the two killers were again?
Yeah, I mean, up until a certain point where I did think that Jack Quaid done it really well to a certain degree. Because when he was saying about I haven't seen the stab movies and stuff, and then the joke with Netflix stuff, which made me laugh and stuff. But it got to the point where it was kind of like, I don't know what it was, but he was just, I think he overplayed it a little bit too cautiously. Because when they were saying about her inhaler and stuff, and they're saying you have to go to the house and stuff, and he was like, no, and it was kind of like, if you were really that devoted about getting out of there, you would have just ignored and just went on. Or at least you would have went back to the hospital where there was more people. Yeah. So it was at that point I kind of said, okay, there's something with you.
Yeah.
But with the other girl, no, didn't see it.
As soon as Jennifer Ortega's character, Tara, couldn't find her inhaler, that's when I thought, hang on, because he had access, he's in the car. That's when I did think maybe probably taking the inhaler.
Exactly. That's when I clicked on. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going into the film and that, like I said, I mean, I actually thought it was going to be a character that had like an actual connection to the past, a relation, or somebody that suffered at the hands of the killers. I think that's firmly what we were led to believe. That's kind of like what it was kind of etching towards. And also, I like the scene in the hospital. It's funny, isn't it? All these hospitals in horror movies are always deserted. It's like nobody works there.
Yeah.
No one works there. You got this, Jennifer Ortega and the killer, obviously Ghostface, coming out, and you actually see it, don't you? Don't they turn on the voice changer in the mask?
Yeah.
And then
like the red button. Yeah.
They're asking Samantha to choose who dies. Richie. Yeah. I love that whole scene. I love that whole build-up, actually, because again, there was like a level of intensity to that scene. I think Roger L. Jackson, the voice actor, had some good stuff. He actually had some good lines in this film.
He did.
Which was, again, kind of lacking for me a little in the third and fourth film. There were a few lines here and there, but I don't think you can ever replicate what the first film did, though.
No.
Just like when it was new.
No.
One of the best. I mean, what is it? Yeah. Why do you want to know my name? Because I want to know who I'm looking at. That's just subtly menacing.
Brilliant.
And what do you want? To see what your insides look like. Just great stuff.
That's the thing. I mean, the first one was scary. The first one really scared me.
Yeah,
I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared by this one at all.
The scare. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is with this film, again, I think it certainly had its moments like here and there. One of the scariest things was probably actually seeing what Courtney Cox looks like now. Bless her. Because she's clearly had a lot of work done, hasn't she? She's had work done.
She has indeed, yeah.
People just can't age gracefully, can they?
No, I know. Neve Campbell, she looks good.
Neve Campbell looks incredible. She looks incredible for her age and that. And I really rate her as an actress as well. I've said this time and time again. She's the best screen queen since Jamie Lee. And I'm actually going to go ahead and say I think she's the best screen queen. I think she is. I think with 5 movies, having it, all right, she's not killing her. She's not fending off an unstoppable killing machine like Michael Myers. But Jesus, look at the crap she's gone through.
Yeah.
If you're Neve Campbell, you'd never want to date again, would you? Let's face it. In case the boyfriend's a psychopath, you wouldn't. You'd find it very hard to like actually be friends with. Oh yeah, Sydney Prescott's my favorite final girl. Definitely. Now, we've got to talk about one of the illogical moments in this film, because I know you brought this up, Pete. And yeah, it is. So Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell are both one stabbed, one shot near the end of the film, but their wounds just kind of go.
Oh, I know. They're having a conversation. They're having a little laugh as well at the end, and despite the fact that Neve Campbell did say to her, "Oh, we'll need to get you to hospital," and then that seems to have kind of, well, she doesn't need to. She's only been stabbed.
Sydney's stabbed, and Gail's shot.
Sorry.
They're not like bleeding to death or anything like that. They're just perfectly fine. Like it was like a little pinch.
Paper cut. Yeah, it's a paper cut.
But you have to put all of these little things like aside and stuff. I mean, they have to wrap the film up and everything and whatever. And where do you think it goes from here? Like, in what direction do you take this now?
I must admit, I wouldn't. I think that should be the end. I don't know that I would want it to continue, but that's just me. I think it's stretching credibility now.
I don't know.
I mean, I do agree with Pete. I think that having seen it the second time, and I could really listen to stuff more, and stuff. When Gail says, that's it, I'm not going to write another thing about this, they can burn in hell. And then she says she's going to write about a good man wants to do and stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, that's perfect. Don't do no more. I felt like it had come full circle.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was a disservice to the character when she said about, killed my friend, Dewey? Do you feel like it was a disservice just calling him a friend? I'm not saying that I think that's the case, but I've seen some people online say that they're just kind of... Do you feel they discredit his death? Because he is killed. Do you really feel like there's enough... Do you get what I'm saying? Do you think there's enough emotion there and everything? I mean, this is a character that's been there since the first movie. Do you feel they just kind of skip over it too quickly? Or...
I did a little bit, Barry. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have. It didn't have the punch that it ought to have been. For such a big character, really. Because he's a legacy character.
He is.
He is. Character. I thought he deserved a bit more kind of appreciation.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I've got to say, right, this is the thing, right? Dewey's a cop. All right, now, admittedly, right, he turned to alcohol and all this and that. He probably isn't quite the cop that he was. But this is what makes me laugh, right? So he goes in the hospital, and I know it's dark, and he completely misses his shots on Ghostface. Now, I don't know if he went to the Stormtrooper School of Training or whatever, but Amber shoots Gail. No problem. Also in a dark setting. So she's a better shot than what Dewey is, who's a cop. or was a cop, admittedly retired. Like I said, alcohol might have, and some people have tried to like defend that factor that he is killed by Amber because he's a shadow of his former self, if you will. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you think to that line where he says "not today" and then the killer obviously he gets like gutted, doesn't he? I mean, it's really quite a brutal death. Yeah. And he says, and the Ghostface says, "Yes, today."
Yes. Yeah.
And then what is it? It's an honor.
Yeah.
I was hoping because the way the trailer marketed it was Sydney. It's an honor. That's how it's presented in the trailer. Honestly, I thought we were getting that line in the film, but what they just did was obviously, you know, trailers are obviously false advertising. They just took the Sydney and Your Honor and put them together, didn't they?
Yeah.
From that death scene. So do you all right? Do you think there will be another one? Do you think that the new Samantha Carpenter will be the new Sidney Prescott?
No.
You don't think there's going to be another Scream film?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think there will be, but it won't be her.
What, you don't think it'll be Samantha Carpenter?
No, I don't think it'll be Samantha. No. Okay. No. There will be, just on the box office that it's taken, there will be another film.
Yeah. I do think there will be another Scream film. I think this franchise is still earning enough good money for them to just say we'll leave it alone. Now, admittedly, the fourth one didn't make as much money as they'd have hoped. I think it was the only film in the franchise at that point to make less than 100 mil. It's still, you know, it did okay, but it was considered disappointing box office wise, considering there was an 11-year gap and, you know, a lot of anticipation for some people. But I really don't know where you go from here. Like,
no, I really don't.
It just runs the risk of, already you could say it's become formulaic. It's become very formulaic.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah.
But that said, it's still better than a lot of other slasher films out there. It's you know, in my opinion, I still think Scream, when you consider it's the 5th movie in a horror movie franchise, how many other horror movie franchises can you say they're still good or at least half decent by the 5th film?
It's true.
Very
because Halloween ain't. Me personally, I mean, I don't like 5. Nightmare on Elm Street, I really don't like 5. Friday the 13th, yeah, okay, I suppose, but there's not many horror movie franchises out there that you can say that. So I do think Scream it's generally quite consistent. I think fairly consistent. I mean, you can't top the first 2 in my opinion, but
no way.
I'm just trying to remember any other highlights in the film, any other little Easter eggs and little nods, because I know there was loads more. Did we actually see any video clips of real horror films in this film?
Not that I can remember.
No, I can remember.
I did like the line near the end where Jennifer Ortega shows up at the scene. It was so kind of corny, but it worked for me. And she goes, "I still prefer the Babadook."
Yeah.
What's your quick thoughts on elevated horror? So them horror films she does mention and that. Do you like them movies?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a fair point. Yeah, that was good. Did they mention The Witch as well?
Yeah, The Witch, Hereditary, Babadook. I feel like there's one more. Or it might just be 3. I'm not sure. I feel like there's another. Oh, well, we get a Jordan Peele name drop.
It Follows.
It Follows, yeah, that's it. And Jordan Peele gets mentioned where she talks about Jordan Peele and that as well, this kind of elevated horror and that, if you will. I like what Ghostface says, actually, because it's like, what is it? It goes, "Oh, what is it, you fancy pants?"
Yeah.
Or something like, because slasher is considered now like trailer trash horror compared to these new wave horror films coming out. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I sometimes like it when it's simple. You know, it's all in the execution, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I'll see what I feel about it tomorrow. I might feel different, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, man, I actually enjoyed it. slightly more second time round. I think the reason being, the first time I went into it, I think I already had some preconceived notions of kind of what direction it was going in. And I just thought there was going to be some huge connective tissue to the first film, which the only real connective tissue we have to that film really is Samantha being Billy Loomis's daughter.
Yeah.
And obviously Stu's house in the climax of the film and that. I'm guessing I probably wanted too much. Maybe I went into this film expecting a big wow, I didn't see that coming moment. Maybe I did. But in all honesty, I've not had that since Scream 2.
No.
I've not had that.
No.
I've not had that since the second film. And I'll tell you what the big wow moment for me was in Scream 2. I did not see Billy's mother, Mrs. Loomis, being the killer.
No.
Did not see that. I never even suspected her. She's just, as far as I'm concerned, she's a character that shows up here and there every now and again. Never thought it.
No.
Yeah.
You know, but that was what, 25 years ago. So audiences get more savvy. Audiences, the more we watch something, we get more savvy. And let's face it, the studios and the writers, they have a hard job to try and keep us
I know. That's true.
shocked. So Joseph, now you think there will be one. Do you want to see another one?
Personally, and I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, no.
You don't want to see another Scream film?
No, because the way that ended for me was perfect. It really was. The way with Gail and Sid, and, you know, it would just undo that, you know, just for the sake of doing it. It's just like, nah.
Well, I know your answer, Pete.
Yes. It'll be I think that's enough. It's you know, it's done its job. It's done its job well, and I think
exactly.
End in a high.
I'm kind of with you. I'm very conflicted though. I don't think we need another one. I don't
know.
But I don't know. Yeah, like slasher movies, we haven't really got many. It's like it's not a good time for slasher. I mean, you've got things like Happy Death Day and stuff, and I'm trying to think of another one, Freaky, which I haven't seen in that.
It's really good.
But no, I don't think I particularly. I'm more 70% no. There's a little 30% that kind of, but at the same time, all right. Do you think this film did Wes Craven justice? Do you feel like this film paid enough respect to Wes Craven?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You don't feel like it disrespected him in any shape?
Definitely not. Definitely
no way.
Not. No,
okay.
No way.
Because I particularly liked a little touch in the film, just a little thing. It was blatantly obvious when they're at the party and he says, "They're drunken toast, it's to Wes."
It was, yeah. It was
I love that.
It was.
That was, you know, and obviously at the end credits, we get the full Wes.
For Wes, that's right.
Yeah, for Wes, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the little thing before the opening? We're going to have to wrap this up in a sec. Did you like the opening? The don't give any spoilers. Ghostface appearing on screen.
Yeah, that was good.
What's the number one rule? Right, Scream movie. That was very much kind of like, as soon as I saw that, right, what's that? I was thinking of Hitchcock. Because with Hitchcock and Psycho, he always basically bought the rights to the books and had every copy removed off shelves because the less people that knew the ending, the better. And people that couldn't even get in after the film had started. They were actually refused admission. I thought that was a cool little, a nice little touch that was. But people,
a wee nod to Hitchcock.
Yeah, it was all over. It was all over the internet anyway. Day after I saw it, everyone going on there about who the killer is and killers are. And I'm like, even now, there's people that haven't seen it. There are people that just haven't, for whatever reason, have not been able to get to the cinema or whatever to see this film, and they really want to see it. Having it spoiled by him.
I know.
Best thing you can do is just remove yourself from social media.
Exactly.
Just only surefire way.
Just avoid it. Avoid.
Yeah.
of doing it. But yeah, so the body count in this film as well wasn't quite as high as I thought it would be, because we get both the twins survive, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
In the film, are they going to become the new Deweys? Are they going to be like every film? Like, hey?
No.
I've even heard that some people, seriously, people are saying this. Right, we think Dewey's dead. We see a body bag pulled out of the hospital, but that could have been the cop that had his throat cut. So some people, because you don't see Dewey's body, some people are already theorizing Dewey might not be dead.
No.
I'm not joking. People are saying
no.
Too much. No.
Oh God.
No.
But I'm sure you guys know anyway, in the original script for Scream 3, Matthew Lillard was alive. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard was going to be engineering things from behind bars, and basically the whole story concept for that made its way to the TV show called The Following with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is Kevin Williamson wrote that Stu is still alive.
Yeah.
So if Kevin Williamson wrote it that way, there's the possibility that they could. But again, it's how plausible is it? How plausible? I mean, he had a TV smashed on his head, a big TV.
Yeah.
But let's face it, fans say you didn't see Stu's body taken out in a body bag, did you? So. I'm surprised some people didn't actually come out with the theory that it was Randy in the fifth movie and he takes off. It was me all along, guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Huh?
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. But no, overall, I really enjoyed it. Have issues with that. But as I said, 5 movies into a franchise, we can't expect.
Yeah.
I don't think we can expect the first film again. No. I don't think we can. I don't. I actually went into this saying that if this film could even be as good as Scream 2 or very close to, I'd be really happy, because I really like Scream 2. I really do. It's a solid sequel. I don't think this was as good as Scream 2, but I still prefer it certainly to the third film, and just maybe just a little over the fourth one. Not by much though.
Not by much, no.
Not by much at all. I've heard a lot of people say that this is the best since the first. You know, I've saying that though, I've heard some people, and there's probably people watching this, I don't know, some people I've heard say the third film. They think the third is the best in the whole franchise.
God, no.
Wow.
There are those. Now, they're either internet trolls, or I'm not going to say they need to be sectioned.
No, they need to.
I'm not going to say that. But
no, I think no. They're just kidding on.
Yeah.
So no, I think Wes Craven would be proud. Actually, I think he would be quite proud of this film. You know, and let's not forget Kevin Williamson did write screenplays for a 4th, 5th, and 6th. And obviously, it wasn't his screenplay that was used for this film. I think the directors of this directed Ready or Not, didn't they, as well?
They did,
which was a good fun movie. Really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think this film gave us something that I wanted to see in small doses, just a little bit of intensity there. And for me personally, one of the standout moments of the film, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I liked the opening, and I liked when Judy was rushing home to try and save her son.
Yeah, that's a good scene. I
love that whole scene, and it's a shame he died. Actually, what do you think to his death? Because it was a knife in the neck, weren't it?
Yeah, that's horrible. It was a really nasty day. Aye, that was really well done, actually.
You were really kind of rooting for him, didn't you? I don't know about you, but I was really kind of rooting for him. I really kind of felt for him while, you know, he can't get a break because he was killed in Don't Breathe as well. And I felt for him in that film as well when he was killed.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys, for coming back.
Guys,
no worries.
We'll see. I mean, we might in 4 years from now, we can still be doing this, and we'll probably be up to screen 7.
No, hope not.
Who knows? Well, so you're saying there's not going to be another screen, Joseph? You're saying there is.
Yeah,
I think you two should make a money bet on it. I think you should.
Pete, pay me now.
50 quid.
50 quid.
Yeah. I'm going to say yes. I am going to say yes, purely because of the money it's making.
Yeah.
But I think it will be at least, I'm going to say 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years time. Let's put it this way, there's not going to be an 11-year gap again.
No.
No.
Yeah. So that's it for today anyway. Cheers, guys. And we'll be back again soon to haunt you and torment you. Take care.
Okay. Bye now.